wonder how the crops are faring this season.
One of my villagers wants to know how the crops are faring this season. Well, unfortunately, my folks have been on a berry-only diet because we don't have any crops. But maybe we can do something about that. So, I do want to figure out a way to probably plant a farm
It's the little things that make all the difference.
and make some crops. We probably need some defenses. We still haven't built a tavern, and we still haven't built a church. So those are kind of some of the main objectives we have. And last time I was playing, I managed to build another house and expand my existing houses, upgrade them, so we should be able to recruit some new people. So how about Elizabeth here? Night owl, wanderer. Well, these folks have high expectations. They won't come unless we have a tavern. So Agnes and Emma are not going to be joining our village yet, but maybe Elizabeth would be willing to come on in. Elizabeth was raised in a family of night watchmen, a vocation she has dabbled in since she was of age. She has an uncanny ability to function in the dark hours of the day that borders on the supernatural, a talent that is indispensable to any village that needs to function at all hours. Okay, so she's going to be a good night shift manager if we need one. And for 20 coins, she will join us. This is like an example of cool stuff in this game. There's other games with villagers that you can recruit, like Medieval Dynasty, but having that little thing that gives us a backstory and makes it feel like there's a little bit more depth there behind that person is kind of cool. So we recruited her. Now we have one more villager. Clock counts down, so if we don't like what we have to see here, I guess in 4 minutes we could come back and maybe there's a different set of folks who'd be willing to be recruited. So let's go back over to villagers. No, buildings. Buildings. All right, so we will put Elizabeth into house number 4. Good to know. We can also name. We can name houses or buildings. I guess any building can be renamed.
At least the weather's holding steady.
And villagers, I believe, are the same way. So like if we wanted to rename Elizabeth, we could do that. So I'm a big fan in games of being able to rename people. Another one of the big selling points in this game is just that like people don't really get old and die. So like you can just have your permanent team of people who are comprising your village, which is kind of nifty, versus having them kind of die and cycle through all the time. I was noticing there's something a little bit off about the optimization of this game, I'm assuming, which does not surprise me at all. Like it runs fine for me, but then I was just realizing that NVIDIA Broadcast, which I run in the background while I'm making these videos, is complaining at me for high GPU load, which it will probably only do if there is indeed a high GPU load. So in the case of stone, I found that I just wasn't looking at the right boulders. That's all it was. I think I need to do something about the volume here. It's going to start to be a little bit obnoxious after a while, because like I'm having to turn down the sound. You know, I don't know if I want to listen to the music, but sure. Let's turn the music on for a little while, but we'll hike the master sound down to 20. Let's see, how does that sound? 20? That still seemed kind of, maybe 10. All right. You know, that seems like it's still about the same volume level, almost. It's kind of weird. Maybe you have to go like way down. See those little stones there? They are not real granite. So, just so you know. And we need a lot of stone if we're going to build a settlement that's not made out of logs. See, I don't know about the music in this game. Like, I think it's cool. But, you know, a little bit of that goes a long ways. Like, you only listen to that kind of weird music for so long before you're like, yeah, kind of, I've heard of that. Okay, why am I gathering berries? I don't need to be gathering berries. Okay, more of those little oh, there we go. There's some big boulders. So I can't trust Harold to properly gather for me, so I guess I gotta help out. There we go. But yeah, I've noticed with games like these, a lot of times you'll have some kind of optimization issues, especially if it's a game created by a indie studio, just because you can make something that looks really good, but maybe the try count is high on something or whatever it is. It's just, there's an art to figuring out how to make a game look really good and also run really well. And that's all about picking and choosing your battles in terms of where you include detail and where you omit detail and other things like LODs that'll come in effect, so like the game isn't rendering everything in full detail. Like if you look off into the distance, those trees way far away, like I don't know, like are they being rendered in the same level of detail as the ones that are close to us? I don't know. Kind of looks like they are. But really at that far distance, they should be swapped out for some sort of a low detail model. You can't tell the difference if you're not close, but it'll be much better for system resources if you do that. So that's the kind of thing. Like I would hope that as the game progresses in various stages of development, we get to see better optimization as well as more feature enrichment. That being said, though, like my first emotional reaction playing Medieval Dynasty a little bit and playing this game a little bit is that right out of the gate, despite the jank, despite the limited features, despite things that aren't perfect about it, I really kind of feel like I like Noble Legacy better than Medieval Dynasty. Even though in some ways it feels like a paid demo, just because there's so many things that just aren't really fleshed out yet. There's so many things that are features that are planned, which don't exist in the game at this current stage. It's, you know, absolutely worth mentioning that the game is showing its early access state, very much. But it's also got, you know, it's got the bones of something really cool. And that's something that I wouldn't want to be blind to. So I think what we're going to actually need is we're going to need a foundry so that we can hire somebody else that will be our stone and ore gathering person. So we got to figure out, like, where are we going to go? I want to keep on developing down to this river. Actually, hold up, because right now we don't have the ability to build a bridge, as far as I know, unless maybe we could use the basic foundation platforms to create a bridge. So let's just see, because if we got the road over there and we've got our town over here, it would stand to reason that we would want to be able to build a bridge over there. So if I try to do a road through here, what happens? I don't know. So if I build a road there, it doesn't do anything for getting across the stream. But maybe I could do something interesting with a couple of these wood platforms. I mean, it's kind of a bridge. And then we can do these stairs at the edge. I mean, you know. Is it perfect? No. For some reason it doesn't want to let me do that. Maybe I need another. Nope, I can't. Why does it not want to let me build a... See, I don't know. Like, see, that's like an example of the weird little bugs that exist in the game. Like, see, it's white and then it turns red suddenly. But like, probably if I could just like click fast enough. There we go. Like, see, I was able to click fast enough and now it allowed me to build that thing. I didn't mean to put that there. I didn't mean to put that there either, but you know what? It'll be what it is. There we go. You can get up onto this here platform from any angle. And then when you come over here, you can go back down. There we go. Like, how is that for a bridge? That is pretty dang fantastic. And now while we're at it, we are going to go back down into here and make our road finish its approach out of here. So yeah, we'll do something kind of like that. Okay. So that's kind of janky the way, like, we can't like make it kind of fade into the natural scenery there. Let's try it one more time, because I don't know if I liked how that road kind of... We'll make it be a little bit more gradual, maybe. I do like this I think they call it a spline-based system, where you can kind of create a path that suits you. All right. Okay, there we go. That's a lot better. So now the road kind of has a natural look to it. And look at the villagers. They're actually using the road. I like that. That's pretty cool. So now we got ourselves a nice little town entrance. So as you're coming into town, you'll be like, "Oh, look, it's a town. I can go." Look at that. Damien has a cross hanging around his neck. Hi, Damien. I wonder if that means that he would be a good priest for us if we manage to build a church soon. I would think that that would be a good thing. Reach out to the guy with a cross around his neck when it's time to open the church. See, there's Harold. Now, Harold does indeed do a decent job when it comes to building things out of lumber, it seems. I mean, he can only do so much because, you know, it is what it is, right? Like, what am I going to do? Fire him? Our village of 7 people. One thing I will say that's interesting is when you look around, like, this is just a really pretty bare bones settlement. Like, we don't have a whole heck of a lot going on here. And yet, even though we only have like 7 of us, 7 people here, we have this kind of a big settlement. I mean, for only 7 people to be there. You know, those villagers keep on saying about the same thing over and over again. Which is cute initially until you've heard it several times. And that's when you're like, I've heard it before. All right, so if we're going to do our kind of blacksmith foundry area, now, I believe you can bring up the build menu. You can. So that's good to know. In this top-down bird's eye view mode, you can bring up the build menu by just pressing the same key as you normally would. And I think there's something to be said for the fact that other games like Enshrouded would do a better job probably of some of the things by a long margin. But what games like Enshrouded don't do is they don't give you the ability to have that sense of a society that you are building. Like, you could build a really cool house, but you're not going to exactly have that sense of, like, this is my, you know, group of people that I have living here. You know, like that sense of feeling like it's super cool because you've created a little community of people. Like, that's what's missing in some of the other survival games. Valheim is another one that stands out as like absolutely incredible. In fact, now that I'm just talking about it makes me think about how I want to kind of go back and play it again. See, I keep on hitting the wrong button. And that, see, I feel like when you go to the build menu and then you leave the build menu, it should remember what item you are going to build and then just kind of activate that again. But like it's not. So like I have to go back in and click that again. Because I meant to hit R for rotate, and instead of that, I hit F for the build menu again. When it works, the snapping is actually nice. I like it. All right. So that is going to be the foundation for our foundry. But if we go back to the Kingdom tab and we look at research, do we have the ability? Not yet. So I have the forge being researched, but it's not yet ready. So let's go drop off the stone that I gathered, and then maybe I will go back out to those stone piles across the river and see about collecting a little bit more granite. That's what confused me before, because the game calls stone as a resource granite. Now I wonder if I put berries in storage, will the villagers go to the storage to get the berries out to bring them over to the forager area so they can be sold in the market? I'm not super sure. Another thing that I would say is a major call out I don't like about this game is there is no first person mode. And I really like it to have the option to conceal my character and then just work in first person mode. And I want to say there was a dev comment somewhere where they said it is on the roadmap. They do intend to add it in later on at some point. It's just they wanted to focus on the third person view first because, you know, I guess do one thing right at a time, something like that. Question is, can this game match the feel of gathering that I experienced in New World? Or is there a better game that masters the art of gathering and crafting mechanics better? I don't know. I will say that it's not as good as New World, but it's also kind of not so terribly bad. I didn't play as much Medieval Dynasty, but as far as tree chopping goes, I would say the feel of Medieval Dynasty when you chop down a tree is a little bit better. In some ways, it's better because you cut down a tree and then you fell the tree, but it's not ready to be gathered yet. You'd have to chop it a couple more times to turn the fallen tree into a log. I like that kind of thing. It's a cool touch. But we still have that mechanic of trees falling, and you kind of have that sense of an axe hitting and stuff. So, like, I can live with this. Maybe it's not perfect, but like it's not bad. Again, I think the UI could use a little bit more work. Like if you look at that icon down there where you can see the symbol of the resource, it just doesn't really look all that polished. The font used in the game doesn't look all that polished. It looks like some sort of a default font that was just used as a placeholder. And then again, looking at consistency, there was a tree I had chopped that fell down when I chopped it. But here, these big trees, when I chop them down, like, I don't know if they like, see, that tree just disappears, right? So like that's kind of where it's not super consistent across the game. Like you'll find something that's pretty good, and then you'll find something else where you can see like they just haven't really gotten around to it yet, so it's not fully baked. But it does go back to like, what do you have fun with? And that's something I kind of want to ask that question over and over again as I play through some of these. You know, what is the most fun game to play? And that does not necessarily always correlate with the most feature-rich game or even the best one. Like, you know, OSRS is a great example. Old school RuneScape is this game like everybody loves playing, but it looks like garbage. I mean, come on. Like, it's the most garbage looking game that exists, and yet so many people play it because there's something kind of just satisfying about the gameplay loop. And a lot of people have wished like there was like an old school RuneScape game that had modern graphics, and there just kind of never has been. I think New World was gonna promise to potentially be that, but it didn't ever really manage to quite succeed. I think the fact it came close in some ways was, you know, that was part of why it was so upsetting when that game failed and didn't manage to endure. Well, it's a bit early to say that New World is a thing of the past, because that is not true. But it is very potentially going to become a thing of the past, so I totally get the cynicism there. I do think it's possible, to be completely honest, I think it's possible that New World could get purchased by some other studio and it could continue to be a thing in the future. Maybe. You never know, right? Like, stranger things have happened, so. Now these rocks here, they look like rocks, but they're not really rocks. They're actually clay. And I would kind of wonder if that's the best appearance for clay. Like, it doesn't look like clay, it looks like stone. Since we have some wood on us, we'll go ahead and finish that section of the bridge. It's nice to see people are actually walking across it, because I kind of thought maybe they wouldn't. Another thing that's a little bit buggy is when you create the foundation for something, even if you haven't finished building it, people will still use it. Like, when I didn't have any stone and I built a stone wall, but it was just the frame of the stone wall, and it wasn't yet built, the game still allowed me to upgrade the house, because it didn't recognize the difference between a half-finished stone wall and a completed one. There's kind of a weird moment there where it got super dark. But night didn't seem like it lasted very long at all. So I think if I'm gathering this correctly, the game doesn't have a persistent night mode. It just kind of gets dark for a brief moment and then fades back into the next day, so that you know that it's morning again. Because I have not yet really encountered any real issue with it getting dark, other than right there, it just got dark for a minute. All right, so we're gonna drop off some more stone. We have 108 stone there. Those berries are still in there, so maybe I'll take these berries over across the street to the foraging station. There's that waypoint over there, and I think I put that waypoint there just because I clicked on the map. by accident. All right. There we go. So we have 959 berries inside that basket. At some point, we probably would like to do something a little bit more to create a sense of coziness or regality about this empty house. Like, we're building these big houses with nothing really in them. So let's look and see. Did we research? No, we still haven't finished researching the forge, so we can't build the foundry yet. But Harold is hard at work over there, doing what Harold does. So I would say we owe a lot to Harold for doing what Harold does, because he's been helping us build. Though I also have been doing a lot of that work myself, so maybe I should take that back. Now, I'm going to try to do a cobblestone street here and see what does it cost, or does it even cost anything? Maybe it's all free. Like roads, it doesn't matter if it's a dirt road or if it's a cobblestone road, it doesn't really cost resources. I don't know. Not 100% sure. But we're just gonna go with it. We're gonna see if we can make this town feel a little bit more modern by giving people a nice okay, well, it doesn't really look like, yeah, because if we go to other things, like, you can see a cost associated with them, but these roads, they don't seem like they cost anything at all. Now, moment of truth, let's see if we want to do another road. I mean, that's not great, but it's not the worst in the world either. Now let's try. See if I click here, it's going to want to add onto that existing road, so I can't do that. So I have to start over here. Now maybe we want to kind of do something a little bit more like that. Okay, I can live with that. Looks kind of legit. I mean, I've seen worse. So if roads are free, then I guess we're gonna just head on over here and make our town modern. So we're gonna go up here, and this house is gonna have cobblestone road that goes all the way up to the porch. I do kind of like this. Curve this around here. Keep on going. Let's have like a nice grassy area. We can bend around here. Sort of swing through there. Yeah. That kind of works. Feels pretty good. Maybe when you get up here into the main part of town, we should have another little path that kind of just sort of cuts across, because otherwise people are going to be walking across the grass, because that's what people do. So let's just click on that road. No, not that one. That one. Yep. And we can just extend this path past the front door of that building and actually all the way over here. So we kind of have a little bit of pavement there. Yeah, that looks all right. Yeah, this is a pretty significant upgrade. I don't like it that there's like a weed growing through the deck here. It's one thing they probably ought to work on. Make it so that trees and grass and stuff doesn't stick up through things that it should not. So we got a nice tree. I do like the seasons. Seasons look pretty nice. All right, so now that we've built a road, still going back to sea. Okay, forge. Research is complete for the forge. All right, doesn't tell me anything about it though, so like if I didn't go back to look, I wouldn't have known. There is no fanfare or anything like that. It's like, oh wow. Oh look, there's an outhouse. So we'll go to services. I guess not. Production then. All right. So I guess I need 10 wood planks, which is a little bit weird because I don't know, like, don't I have wood planks? Is Harold dropping the ball again? Like, I guess so. Well, time to get to work. Well, there's Alma. Alma is the wood chopper. So I guess Alma is the one that's dropping the ball because Harold doesn't make his own wood. Harold just kind of works with what he's got available to him. So if Alma... But I don't know. Like, does Alma refine the lumber or does she just go out there and chop trees? This I do not know. So like if I go look at that. Gathering. Oh, look at that. So there's a spot for lumberjacks and then there's a spot for the sawyer. So if we don't have a sawyer, then the lumberjack just goes and gets wood, but doesn't do anything with it. So I guess Elizabeth is gonna join Alma here to become a sawyer so that we don't have to keep on coming in here to do this. That's one of the problems that I've had with a lot of gathering and crafting games too. And this is something that is really kind of just popping into my head right now. But when you start playing a game which involves a lot of gathering, crafting, and building, that's fun and that's cool until it starts to be this ridiculous grind. Like, you don't want to feel like every single thing you do to get resources is something you have to do yourself. And that's where it's so satisfying to be able to do this. Like, yeah, we can go do all of it ourselves, but then we can also hire someone who will automate the process so we can focus on other things. And now we have Alma bringing in logs and Elizabeth there gathering the logs and turning them into wood planks. So, like, really, when you think about that gameplay loop, there's only a couple games that truly do that. Medieval Dynasty being one of them. There's a Japanese version. It's like set in feudal Japan version of that Medieval Dynasty game made by the same publisher. And this game, which does that. But in the case of Medieval Dynasty, everything it's all prefabs. So if you want that, I'm going to make my settlement look the way I want it to look, and it's going to be kind of unique and stuff. Well, I mean, you kind of can. You can choose the layout, but there's a limit to how much you can customize. Like, even in this early access state, it would be totally possible for us to build some sort of a epic looking stone castle, which I actually want to do. That's kind of on my bucket list while I go through this playthrough, to be able to do that. Wouldn't that be cool? Like, we have our little village here, and then eventually we build a big castle that will be, probably pretty barren, because the game doesn't have all that much to decorate with and stuff yet. But still, even if all it is kind of the shell of something, it still could be pretty cool. All right, so now we can craft various things here, I assume. Building requirements are not met. All right, so let's go and find out what is wrong. Building is foundry. See, that's another thing that really confused me, because you can place a furnace, but there isn't really anything that actually says that when you place a furnace in a building, it becomes a foundry, right? So, like, some things just are not explained extremely well. I need ore storage. That is what I need. So go to production, ore storage. Feel like that little bin ain't gonna hold all that much ore, but you know what? Whatever works, right? We'll do 2 of those. Another thing that's a little bit rough in this game is, like, fine-tuning the placement of things. Like, see how, like, it wanted to snap that barrel to wherever it was snapping it to, and so, like, that one is not exactly evenly spaced with that one, and I don't know if I really could do anything about it, but do I care? Probably not. What I need now is somebody to get to work here. And so let's go back to recruits. All right. So Genevieve is here, willing to join us. We have a library she likes, but we don't have a tavern. No stew pot. Cornelia would join us, but we don't have a good church or a tavern. She likes to get drunk and then go praise the Lord, and she can't do either of those things here. So Robert What do you want, man? Oh, you also, okay. So these folks, Barfley is, what does this mean? Spends, okay, so Barfley is exactly what it sounds like. Robert likes to drink at the tavern and barf a lot. Cornelia likes to also spend time at the tavern. Both of them seem to enjoy going to the tavern and going to church. Cornelia is a lazy person, though, who likes to just sit around the house. So I don't know if either of these are really the greatest people in the world. Guess Genevieve would be the one we need, but she also wants to be able to go to the tavern. So, you know, there's that. So I guess the next thing we're going to do is start thinking about where we're going to build the tavern. And what just popped into my head here is the tavern should be out by the main road, because hypothetically, if we have visitors coming through, we'd want the tavern to be right here in this kind of prime real estate, so that they'd be like, hey, let's check the tavern out as we're going through. So we will again go back to our structural options and see. We could do a brick foundation, but we would need that foundry to be operational in order to do that. And we really can't do that because, well, we don't have anyone to run it, so. So we got, oh man, like that really wants to scroll quickly, doesn't it? So we got some nice trees there. We got the river. So we could make like a nice little deck out back. I do not like how this is so touchy. I need to go into the settings and see, like, is there a way to... All right. So that could be the footprint of our tavern. So people could kind of come in from this direction. They could come in from that direction. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Of course, we'd want to have a lot of windows, or maybe even this open wood wall. Like, that'd be kind of cool, right? Because I don't know if we even need to... Do we need to have a front door? Like a tavern might not have a... It could just be kind of like an open, inviting kind of a space, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking. Because none of this really matters. Like, you don't have to have a door. So we're going to just kind of play around with this and do what seems like it feels right. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I want to kind of do something a little bit unique, if that's possible. Like, there's only so much you can do. So we're going to furniture and yeah, how about a rope fence out here? Well, maybe not. Maybe I'll do the... Yeah, we'll do this for like the deck. You know what also might be cool is to do like stairs and then have like a deck up on top. So let's just see. Because I think there's winding stairs. Oh, where they are though. Oh, there we go. Wood U-shaped stairs, so. Well, maybe I could do. That sticks into the road too much, so. And I know nobody travels on the road, but I still wanna be a little bit respectful of the topography of the land because, you know, immersion. So, all right. So now our deck is a little bit bigger. Kind of like that. Question is, if I wanted to build those stairs, yeah, see, I could probably do that. Yep, there's enough room here. That works. Would require a little bit of creativity to figure out how to make this appear to be legit. But I think we're going to be able to. I think we're going to be able to make this work. Yeah. So we'll do the half wood floor there. But I can't have it just like. All right, I guess it's going to have to be like that because like I can't just have no support on that corner. So, you know, not perfect, but whatever. Floors. I'm thinking Maybe we'll do the pointy roofs. Stone steeple. Or here's another idea. Actually kind of cool. We do the stone roof on top. And it's like a half roof. That kind of makes it a little more distinctive. So we'll do that triangle to fill it in. So we have like a nice little place where people can sit around and enjoy the ale. See, look how dark it is. It's now dark. But you can't see anything. But I don't think it's going to last very long. Let's see, how long does it stay dark? Because if that's what dark looks like, I mean, can't see crap. Like it's like they didn't really, it didn't really get dark exactly. They just changed like the contrast or something. Like it's artificially dark more than it should be. So you can't really see anything. But night doesn't last very long. Like if you look at the bottom right, you can see the timer and see it's already getting light again. So yeah, it's not too bad. Like I don't love that, but it's just kind of, it's there to let you know that the day is over. Then there's like weird stuff, like see how the way that section of floor doesn't quite match up with the other, like those two half sections, they don't exactly align right. So it just looks a little bit janky. But, you know, we could be playing Enshrouded and then all of those resources, we'd have to make them 100% ourselves. So, you know, there's that. Why is that not snapping? Not super sure. Oh, I guess I can't do the... I can't put the railing because those stairs are not something that lets you do that. So I would have to go into like, I guess, walls and do, so we could do that. Yeah, I don't like it when you have to like fight the game and it wants to glitch out when you're trying to build something. All right, there we go. Finally managed to get that placed. Now, is there like a half wall version of this? Vertical half wall. I guess that'll have to be what we use, because we don't want the drunk people falling off the stairs. So that'll be okay. I mean, all things considered, this is not terrible. Even if it's not perfect, it still beats. It beats prefab structures where you don't even have any customization options at all, right? You know. So there we go. Like, that could be a pretty nice tavern there. You can go in, you can look out from the second floor. Yeah. Now the question is, can we actually make it a tavern? Or do we need to research something? Well, let's go to research. Hunting cabin, that's a thing. We could research farmhouse, plot, and tools. That would allow our villagers to be farmers. See, there's so much stuff that's just coming soon. It's not there yet. Like, most of the game is not there yet. But then, you know, I mean, you can take that as a positive thing too. Okay, so that's what we need to do. We need to research the bar and cook pot so that we can actually turn our non-existent tavern into a real one. So it looks like another thing that we don't have is a queue. Like, you can't say I want to research that and then I want to research the church after that. It's just one thing at a time. You click it and then it researches slowly. So it's going to be a while. But, you know, that'll give Harold some time to potentially finish construction on the framework of what will become our tavern. And then we will be able to actually start working on getting it opened up for business. See, I like those stone walls and fortifications. They look really cool. So let's see about some kind of lighting would be probably appropriate. Like, you can't have a tavern. Oh, and I don't have enough wood planks. Like, I just don't understand, though. Like, why does it allow you to create... It allows you to create the framework for something, even if you don't have all the resources to do it, to finish it. But then it'll also sometimes tell you that you don't have enough to even lay the plan down. Kind of weird. And I'm not sure how much I dig that super dark nighttime where it just almost feels like the screen's just kind of like blacked out. But some of the lighting effects are actually really nice. Like right now, you have those fall trees, and it does feel like crisp autumn morning in the countryside. Great place to build a kingdom. Since Harold hasn't gotten over here, I'll just be here building the tavern. Maybe that's one of the points of appeal for games like this or Stardew Valley or any number of various games that are focused on building things. It's nice to just use your hands to do something simple, you know, in a world which is often complicated, where the things we do are maybe more abstract, like you go sit at a computer or whatever, like you talk on the phone, you're dealing with people. Like there's so many different things we do in life that are, maybe they're useful, but they don't feel as human as just, you know, going out with your hammer to build something. And I know that that's true, because like my old friend who has the executive job was talking about that, how he would go and be working on something at his house, and when he's just, you know, using his power tools and building something, you know, there's no conference calls, there's no stress. It's just him and the work he's doing, and that's just kind of a good feeling. So I think that's why games like these scratch that itch. They remind us that life is supposed to be spiritually simple, even if it's not easy. It shouldn't be something where you spend all of your time carrying some sort of like emotional stress burden. Anyways, see, like here's another example though of where like those triangle pieces up top are not, they're not finished yet. We need the wood plank still, but if at a glance I wouldn't necessarily know that. So we've mostly built our tavern. Mostly. Oh, probably ought to finish those stairs. Probably one of the worst things you could do for people who are snockered at the tavern would be to not have the front stairs finished. So, you know, if I was a lowly peasant making my way down this highway, and then I saw that, I'd be like, wow, this is a really impressive town here. And I would think, I want to go in there. And then I might, after that, I might say, I think I will actually go over the bridge and see what else is going on in this big city. And then I would look around and I would say, wow, this is a really hopping place here. I might even want to live here. And then maybe I would just kind of permanently stay there and never leave, and I would become a new recruit, hang out with the villagers, and they would be my my newfound family. Like, look at them there. It's pretty much our whole town. They all woke up and they're coming out to go about their daily business. But it seems that research does not happen very quickly, unfortunately. So if we go, I guess, to the library. Oh, We need a second research desk so we can upgrade it. Let's look into that. I believe that's the library. I have to remind myself. Yep. Richard is working in the library. Oktoberfest has begun. Well, that's nice. All right. I need more wood planks in order to build that. So, right. So I guess I'll go next door and we will do some woodwork in here. Elizabeth, what are you doing? Are you not, you're not keeping up, are you? All right, well, I'll give you a hand. There we are, sawing logs. One thing I've thought about is how when you're playing MMO type games or online games, maybe mobile games, there's always time gates and they're always masked behind progression. So it'll be like, go chop the tree and then turn it into resources. And when it's done processing, then you can use those resources to make something. And on the surface, it would be completely identical to, for example, what is going on here, where I went and I chopped trees and now I'm waiting for my character to refine the lumber. But that's not actually the same thing, because in the case of things like the mobile games, it's really just a timer. Like, there's not a game on the other side. It's just a timer. It's meant to progressively consume more and more of your time until it becomes a pain point, and then they're going to find a way to make you pay money, real money, to make the timer go faster. Because it starts off like you install the game and the timer is 10 seconds to refine a basic resource. But then if you've played for a while, then now you're going to be looking at, all right, the timer now is going to be 48 hours for you to do the next thing that you need to do before you can, you know, play some more. And that's the kind of thing that's sort of toxic in some of these models, where it seems like almost every mobile game is just some kind of a timer that is concealed behind the illusion that you're actually playing the game, when really you're not even playing the game, you're just being played. So there's a difference between something that is, you know, a mechanic that's part of the game, because like in real life things don't happen instantly, so you do want to have some, it takes some time to do an action. But like, for example, in this game, even though it does take time to do certain actions, the game has a mechanic built into it where once you get things up and running, you can automate those actions. So you aren't going to have to keep on doing them all yourself. And it's not going to just take progressively longer and longer for you to do something. And that's the difference. Like, so one is the mechanic that's meant to make the game feel more realistic. The other is a mechanic to prevent you from actually being able to truly enjoy the game at all. And that's where, you know, I'm not opposed to, you know, cell phone games and stuff. They can be fun, but most of them wind up being some variation of the same thing. Just kind of a scam in a way. And that's why You know, maybe MMOs are kind of like that too, right? Like they're meant to keep people sucked in. But are they really, you know, are they really doing you any good? Or are they just sucking up your time? Like you think, sometimes I think about that. It's just in terms of all the stuff you can accomplish and get done, right? Like just a few play sessions take, you know, an hour or two at a time. And what do I have to show for it in this game? Like I have this little colony I've built and all these buildings I've put together, and, you know, like, I don't know, is this a great game or not? I'm kind of enjoying it. I don't know how much content I'm going to get out of this game. Like I might hit the wall at some point and then be like, you know what? I've kind of done everything I have to do here, and I'm going to put the game back on the shelf and come back when more content is released for it or whatever. But even if that's the case, compare that to an MMO where you log in, the world looks exactly the same when you log off as it did when you logged in. You didn't really probably even progress a story. You didn't necessarily enrich your experience in any particular way. You just sank time into it. And then you say, well, yeah, but it's a social experience. But then, is it a social experience? Because quite possibly it wasn't a social experience either, because you either didn't talk to anybody, or the interactions you did have were kind of low quality, like teenagers in the global chat making yo mama jokes or something worse, perhaps. You know, and I am a fan of MMOs, but I do think the blind spot for those of us who have been big MMO fans may be that there's games that are not MMOs that actually scratch all of the itches that a real MMO maybe promises to, but doesn't. So I don't know. I've been having fun with some of these and thinking, you know, like when you have limited time and there's just so many things that are on the bucket list that you want to do, if you can sacrifice one MMO or something that consumes a lot of your time and instead focus that energy on a bunch of things that are a little bit more rewarding, that give you something interesting to show for it at the end of the day, then maybe that's the way to go. I don't know. Anyways, I upgraded the library, so research is going a little bit faster now, but it's still going to take a little bit of time before that research is complete. And I'm not really going to probably do anything else until it is done, because I want that tavern to be finished so that I can recruit more people. Now, maybe I do want to do a fishery, because Bertha here would join us, but we would have to have a fishery, and I didn't even think about that. So let's do that, because, you know, we could even probably combine. We could combine the tavern and the fishery. See, I don't know. I don't know if you can catch fish like anywhere or if it has to be a specific place. So like if we zoom out, there's that little stream. Do we have a lake around here? There's a lake over there and there's fish in the lake. But that's, I mean, that's kind of a long way to get over there. It almost looks like there's the footprint of what was once a town. There's fish there too, but that's even further away. This is kind of a big map. I mean, more fish. Big old rock. Where even am I? Now I got lost. Yeah, I don't know. There's another big lake. I don't know. Oh, look, there's a town. That's cool. See, I think that they just put these towns into the game, but there's not really any people in them yet. Like, they're just kind of placeholders because eventually there's going to be people in them. Not super sure. All right, so I think I gotta leave that view because I got lost and I couldn't find where I was at. So, but if I went down that path, I could do the fishery over there. Because I'm assuming I can't just put the fishery next to the stream. I don't know for sure. I mean, I could try it. And say, no, it says in the description, make sure it's over a lake with fish. So, all right, so let's just go for a run and see if we can find that lake. Maybe it's not as far as it seems. I mean, it does seem like kind of a distance. But you know what? Sometimes you got to just go the distance. Just go over there and, you know, see the lake, take the lake. So if memory serves, we just run down the street a little bit further. It's going to be on our right, up ahead. See, that's like an ideal place where you're supposed to make a town. Like, they've already made it obvious that that's where you would make a town. But I did not choose to make a town there. I just kind of did my own thing, so. Oh, I guess that's what we can do, use the waypoint thing for. That's, yep. Click the map and now we have a waypoint, so. We can just run straight over there. So that's not really too bad at all. But if our person is fishing and they have to go all the way over here to bring fishes back to town, that could be a little bit of a logistical issue, but you know, I'm not super sure if that's going to be a problem or not. But anyway, there is the lake. That's a pretty beautiful lake, too. I kind of wanted to like connect that to to something. Uh-oh. The raiders are coming to the village. What am I gonna do? Go back to see if I can fight them, I guess. I don't even know. Didn't really want to fight the raiders. I just wanted to... All right. Well, I guess that's going to have to do. I need more structural pieces added on to the... See, for some reason... it doesn't recognize... Like, it recognizes these are attached, but it doesn't recognize that the other one is attached, but then... like, you kind of would have to... yeah, I mean, like, you can't get in from over there because there's, like, a little rope fence thing. I don't know. Well, anyways, we'll just let it all be like that. That's all right. Like, it's like a weird little pier kind of a thing. All right. So that's our fishing pier. I'm at peace with it the way it is. Like, it's not perfect, but you know what? I mean, it is what it is. Hi, Harold. Harold has come out here to hang out. So. Okay, so the bandits, they came, but they didn't find me because I was over hanging around the lake. Now, there's that lady who is willing to join us if we had a fishery. Unfortunately, however, by the time we managed to build our fishery, she was gone. So... that's all right, because it's probably a good thing for us to have a fishery. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna build a road to connect this fishery to the main road, so that people don't have to like walk through the grass in a weird, inefficient way. again, I don't like the way that the end of that road looks. We're going to try that once more. No, still not the way I want. Like, once you place the road, you can't really, like, change it afterwards. So you have to just delete it and try again. So I wanted it to kind of go, like, through there. Then bend around that way. Maybe we can get a little bit closer. All right, there we go. That's about what I wanted. And now it's dark and I can't see anything. I think I'm going in the right direction, but it's very, very difficult. Very difficult to see what one is doing. Thankfully, there's not really a lot of danger in this game. I guess there are bandits, but not too often, so. Bandits, but not too often. Night, but not for too long. And now it's morning again. Well, is it? No, I guess not. The moon is just out. So, like, I guess night can be nice. Like, that looks good. It's just weird. Like that looks really pretty. But then when the moon isn't up, then it can be really, really dark. I wonder if you can get a torch to carry. That's something I should probably look into. Well, anyways, so we got the fishery done. How's the... Okay, tavern research is approaching completion. Maybe if I go back to the library, I can assist with research to make that finish up faster. Because I don't have anyone else to put on that task. What is she doing? Susanna. What are you doing? You can't talk now? Are you all right, madam? I guess she came into town and she was just like dumbfounded. She was like, wow, this place is so incredible. I can't even believe my eyes. I think she's a visitor because visitors come into town too. They just spawn in and check it out and see like, uh-oh, maybe that's why the research is going so slowly. So you can't see crap in here. So, all right. I wonder, why does it have to take a minute in order to load up the stuff? Like, well, anyways. First world problems. Oh. Chandelier. It says must be placed on the ground. I don't know why it would say that. Why would you ever place a chandelier on the ground? Doesn't seem like a particularly wise idea. We're going to ask people to do research. We probably ought to give them some kind of light so that they can see what they're actually doing. Can we put a candle on there? We can. All right. So everyone will receive a candle if I can figure out how to put it on the desk. Because I think being able to see would be a good thing if you're trying to do research. And now I am researching. I wonder how long it takes. Like if I'm just doing research myself. Progress, 68 of 90. Okay, so I guess every time that bar goes up and finishes, that's one research. Yep. So that's not actually going to be too long. I just have to stand there while it counts up for 30 more times. So that's not terrible. So I guess I'm going to let it do that, and we'll call it a wrap for this particular episode. And then the next one is going to be finishing up the tavern, seeing if we can recruit a few more people, and probably get to work on the church next. Maybe the church can be the first building that is actually made out of stone, so that you know, we can kind of change it up, because up to this point everything we've been building has been made out of wood frame exclusively. And that's probably kind of true to life too, right? Because if you think about it, in old times when people would found a city or a town, people would use the resources they had available, and then as time went on, they would kind of start to meet their basic needs, and then the next thing they'd want to do would be to build a church. But in medieval times, the church would be not just a place where people would go on Sunday. It would be like the community center. It would probably be the seat of the local government. It would be where important meetings happened of all different sorts. Like you really did. You had the church and you had the tavern. And so you would really want the church to be a sturdy, solid building, because it wasn't just a house of worship. It was also a lot of other things. So, oh shoot, I thought I heard something. There is a troublemaker out there. We have a criminal. So I'm going to equip my sword here. And I probably ought to save the game too, because if I get killed, I don't want to have to reload. So where is this guy? I saw he was out. I saw the little name tag. Okay, Adrian. Oh, there he is. All right, Brigid. Yep, you have met your match. Ha, take that. Look at that. He had $4, 50 lumber, and another sword. So now I have another sword, and that Brigid is a thing of the past. We don't have to worry about burying these guys or anything. They'll just disappear after a while. I'm glad we were able to dispatch him. See, I knew it. I knew it because I was just hanging out in there in the library, researching late at night. And I heard that weird noise outside. I knew there was mischief going on. So all right, so now that that's over with, now I can go back to my studies. In any case, it has been fun. Till next time, thanks so much for watching.